The ultimate response to divine goodness is to live it. A divine life isn't about escaping the world, but transforming it, infusing love into action, courage into service, and faith into every moment. In this final segment, we reflect on what it means to align with truth, beauty, and goodness, to live in harmony with God's will, and to experience joy, peace, and purpose as signs of our eternal connection to the divine. So, Tony, how can we, like you're saying, in this mundane world, in our day-to-day, in our material, how can we live this divine life?
I'll give another mantra.
Yes, I love
And
mantras.
it's a personal one, so there's no copyright on it. But
Thank you.
each person listening should create their own. But for me, this also came out of a meditation, where I was meditating a couple years ago, and when I started to experience this life, so I was like, so what's the point? So I asked myself, so what's the point of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And it was for you to cooperate with the divine life within you and to collaborate with the divine life within others.
Okay.
Because on one end, our Father, right? The idea of God as our Father, our universal Father. I experience that life. There's nothing I've done to earn that. I just experience that life. So I just cooperate with it. I don't have to fight. I don't have to beg. I don't have to ask for it. It's freely
Mm-hmm.
given
Yes.
to me. So there's nothing I have done that has helped me to get more of God. God is in me, is in you, is in everyone. Life is in me, life is in you, life is in everyone. So I just have to wake up every day, acknowledge that, and cooperate with it on a daily basis, work together with it, know that I am united with this. But then I'm going to come across other people, right? I am not an
You're going to have to
isolated
take that
individual.
beyond yourself.
Exactly. So that inner life has to have an outward expression. And the ultimate outward expression I could come up with was collaboration. Because
Okay.
in collaboration, you are thinking togetherness. You have goodwill towards each other, and you're like, hey, how do we work together? And this for me is, I believe fundamentally that every individual who has attained any form of spiritual consciousness or awareness should, in one way or the other, be seeking to help others to experience some sort of restoration. The reason being, we are all broken in one way or another, but we all experience one aspect of God that is unique. We experience something that is unique. In our ability to restore others, we collaborate with them to experience more of God. And the best way you can collaborate with an individual is to always have goodwill towards them.
Yes.
The goodwill you've received, you just show the same goodwill. If that's your attitude, even if the other individual doesn't want to collaborate with you or whatever, doesn't want to, doesn't like you or hates your gods or all of this, yeah,
You can't
fine.
control that in
You
any
can't
way.
control
So
that. But your own attitude and your state of mind should be goodwill. The same goodwill that you've received. You don't have to create it. You don't have to force yourself to like somebody. You don't have to, you don't have to go and pray for you to get the strength to like somebody.
this is
What?
important.
Yeah.
This is important because everybody's all, and let me just make a point here, because one thing that happened to me is, why do I have negative feelings against this person? And you're like trying to tell yourself, no, but when you start to realize and say, why? Because maybe I felt this about him, he did this and did that. And then you go a step beyond and you look at what that person went through, what he suffered, and you kind of comprehend where that came from, and it's not personal. And you take
Correct.
that out and you see
Correct.
beyond that. So
Correct.
that's just wanted to make that disclaimer. So go ahead, please continue.
Because you yourself, or I myself, I have also done things to people that has hurt them. We are
You
all
recognize
imperfect. We are
that's
all
part of the
imperfect.
Lord's Prayer.
Correct.
It's there. If the Lord put it in there, it's so important that we must heed to it.
Correct. So if you realize that, if you have goodwill towards people, that goodwill is a seed you sow that also allows you to receive goodwill from them. And for some people, they recognize it quickly. For others, it takes them years. Some people, it's not going to be you that gets them there, right? But if we can be consistent with showing the goodwill that we have received, because it starts first from receiving it. Our understanding of life and our understanding of God is the foundation of our interaction with others. If you think God is distant, then people are distant. If you think God punishes you for your wrongdoings, then you seek to punish others for their wrongdoings. You will need a reason to forgive. Oh, if they've not apologized, no, I can't forgive. If they've not paid for their wrongdoing, then I can't forgive. But your expression with people, your interaction with people is proof of your experience of God.
I
Because
really
we
like
can
this.
only give what we have received. That's it. We can only give what we have within us. So if an individual finds themselves really struggling to interact with people, to love them, to treat them, you're always angry, you're always fighting or whatever, you don't have to go and do some personal work on becoming a better person. You just
And it's
need
important, that personal work, and like any mental exercise, physical exercise, a spiritual exercise is needed. And like any
correct,
exercise, when you start studying or when you start doing the first push-ups, it's going to be hard. But the
correct,
consistency that you're saying, the repetition, and the purpose, this goodwill purpose that you're saying, that even though I'm in an imperfect world that is perfecting, and that bad things are happening, and that I am contributing in some cases to those bad things because of my imperfections.
correct,
Nonetheless, I can always correct them. I can always, and
correct.
that's so beautiful that we cannot, I mean, we can always evolve. And that is something that I want our viewers to take, It's the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the
With a
first
step,
step.
correct.
Continue,
And
please tell
I
me.
would say the very first step is getting your cup filled.
Okay.
Getting your cup filled from that means getting to experience more life, getting to experience more of God. Because if you like, there's only so much you can use willpower to do. you know, at at some point, your natural
Yeah.
self is gonna come out.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, and I think that's why we're here in this arena. We're not in a uh, idle state. We're always pushing full force and full revolutions,
Correct,
and see if the engine breaks, right? And
correct,
that's the
correct,
idea, to take it to the clashes in life, and that sometimes we see like these misfortunes. But I always say
yes,
misfortunes are fortunes in disguise if you know how to take the wisdom out of them, the
correct.
experience, and the evolution, like you're saying, of pro-life.
Correct. Correct. So if you should begin every day as much as possible and end every day to try to just fill up your cup. You're not asking anything from God. You're not trying to appease him. You're just receiving his goodness. Just sit, receive his goodness, receive his forgiveness, receive his love. Then when you go out, just try to give it. And if you were not able to do it today, it's fine. You will learn again. You will keep learning and you will keep learning. You will keep improving. That is it. But if you try to give what you don't have, you will exhaust yourself, So start by receiving and experiencing that good will, that good love from God on a daily basis. Then simply go out there and do the same. In fact, it will flow naturally over time. It will flow
it
naturally over.
becomes it becomes a habit, and then it becomes, and like I always like this, that thoughts become a process. And I don't know
Yeah,
I don't
thoughts,
remember the entire,
actions,
but in
habits.
the end,
Yeah,
habits
correct.
become you. So yes.
Correct.
And it's interesting because one time, I was talking about prayer, and we're at, how to pray and everything, and I came to realize and said, I don't pray that much. I mean, I don't have. But then I realized, and I said, you do pray because you're constantly in communion with God. Even when I'm
Correct.
walking, when I'm doing something, I realize that I'm conversing with God. I'm not only I'm not in isolated. I have a dialogue, and I didn't realize I constantly check and I ask and I have a personal dialogue with God. And that is a sort of prayer. And when you get to that point where your mundane life is God is there, and there will be difficult times. I'm not kidding anybody. I mean that you feel
Definitely.
despair and that
Yes.
you feel lost, and it's in that despair and that sense of being lost, then you cling to your faith, and that is so powerful because that takes you out of you know being in an absolute state of not being to do anything, and the
Yes.
power within that faith really gets the impossible done.
Very
Miracles
true.
happen.
Very, very true. Like I want to say something because sometimes when we talk about spiritual things and good stuff, it may sound like a fairy tale, you know? It may sound like a fairy tale. For me personally, I've struggled most of my life with depression. So it's not as though I'm this happy, jumpy person who is great to
it
be
took
around
it
at all
took effort
times.
to get to where you are.
Every day it's a separate journey. Yesterday I might have been the best, and then today it's a bit of a low, you know? That is being human. And you need to be okay with being human and knowing that this is a journey that I am on, but I am not alone. Life is with me, I'm interacting with life, and I'm going to get better. I'm experiencing it, and that's the essence of that progressive life. Because it's not something you just get once and you're done. You know, it's not a prayer you make and then you're done. You know, it's continuously experiencing this life. And
Yes.
then people around you also begin to experience the overflow from you.
Totally, totally. And you were mentioning a little bit about, these step by steps that you take, and that sometimes, I mean, I don't believe I have enemies, and I don't see anybody as enemies. I see maybe as an antagonist that maybe I have to. He has to learn something. I'm an antagonist for him, and he's an antagonist for me. Because if you take the structure of characters, there's a protagonist and there's the
Yes,
antagonist, and the antagonist not necessarily is not the bad guy. We usually
correct.
consider him the bad guy, but he's the
Because it's
one
a
that is
resistance against us, right?
exactly. The antagonist is the person, is the factor that really sets the story in motion so that it can get to a climax and then to a resolution. So
Correct.
if we don't have an antagonist in any story, there is no story. There has to be
Correct.
something that and it might be us. We're our own antagonist, and I think that is it. But one thing that is important in this process, and that we don't see people as enemies, but maybe as an antagonist that is showing us something. I like this concept, is that you don't need to love everybody today, but each day that you love one person is you're in the right path. So this is
Correct.
important. It's not that we're already perfect, but we are perfecting ourselves and we are loving everybody. One of the things that I like about the concept of the brotherhood of God, I mean the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God, is when I recognize you as my brother. If I can truly recognize you and say you are my brother because we feel alike, we come from the same source, from the same essence. And in just that mathematical equation, if you are my brother, then therefore there is a father, there is a source, a first source and center where we come out of. And that really, boom, makes us into the gospel, into the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God.
Correct. At the end of the day, we are all one family. I didn't choose the members of my family, but we are all one family. And it's a journey of getting to know how to love each other. Like I saw this phrase, it's like there are no strangers, just friends you haven't met. You
Yes.
know, so we're all on a journey, and in that journey there are going to be clashes, there are going to be goods, sads, you know, everything, but it's part of the story. You
Yes.
know, it's part of the story. You know, there are people that are going to be born with disabilities or challenges, right? That's part of their story. It's a unique expression of God. God is going to find his way to reveal himself through them and to them, right? So each person is bringing a very unique story, a very unique aspect of God and as such of themselves. And we need to work together, to collaborate together, to create a world in which all voices matter and
Yes.
all stories matter, you know, because then can we begin to actually piece together like a more comprehensive, collaborative, ideal, good picture of God.
I like this. I like this. And yes, the more we really see ourselves and in the struggles, because like you're saying, we're unique, and each person, maybe I can never relate to somebody, I know that is different. I mean, there's sometimes things that I can relate to, and some others that maybe not. But when we realize that we're all, the feelings that this person has to go through, I mean, that happen when he goes through his process are maybe the same feelings that I go through my process. So the feelings are the same, and that's how we connect, not in our individual, I know if I hit myself, it's going to hurt. If you hit yourself,
Yes.
it's going to hurt. It's the same feeling. We know what hurt means,
We can't
right?
create new feelings.
Exactly. We can only share them and express them.
Correct.
And remember when, because I used to be a musician, and I remember when this is an interesting story, when back in the day, it was still MySpace. It was 20 some years ago, and everything was starting to go public, and I would get some fans, and they would, thank you, and they would interpret the lyrics, and when you write music, it's from your own personal experience. And you write it from what happened to you. In many cases, but in their expression, they said, "I relate to this because of this," and they had their own view of that song. And to me, it was such an amazing thing that through my art, through my poetry, because it's a song, but it's a poem, they were able to express their emotions, their feelings, and we were connected there. So that was very, very revealing to me, that how that's why art and music is so important, because that's where we, boom, explode of all of our emotions, and we come together.
That is the reality because we can't create new feelings, but
Mm-hmm.
we can share in the same feelings. So you
Exactly.
can listen to a song that somebody has written and it's like they wrote it for you or like they wrote out your thoughts into their words because we can share in it. So like I like this illustration of because I work with animals and
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a very, very interesting story.
Yes.
When you work with animals, most people that have a fear-based system, and I see this a lot because I've worked with animals both in the West, like Australia, Canada, and then I've also worked with animals in like Africa. And in Africa, it's different, right? Because it's force. You try to use force to control animals because you
Okay.
are afraid of them. So you always
Okay.
have a very big stick. So you are afraid that they're going to get you. So I've got crocodiles, right? And people are always terrified of them. So when people want to work with them, they have this very long, like 15-foot pole to, to create some distance with them. And that's because we are afraid. We are fearful of them. And the thing is, I keep telling my team and my staff, like, you don't have to be afraid of these animals because they are more afraid of you. They are in your world. You are not in their world. They are in your
Yes.
world
Yes.
because you took them, you put them in this space. They depend 100% on you. You
Yeah.
just need to understand them. You need to learn to understand them. And it's the same. If you watch lots of, like, for example, people are very afraid of snakes, right? And maybe they have a reason to be because snakes are venomous and all of that. Many of them are. But you can also be in the different culture, like Australia, where people are not afraid of snakes as such. And they even learn how to handle snakes, how to live together with snakes. And here, right at the moment, I'm in India, and there are entire places where people live with cobras. They collaborate with cobras. These are very deadly. Tomorrow I'm taking my daughters to a cobra park. These are deadly animals, but people are working with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are afraid, we say in the animal, when you work with animals, if you are afraid, the animal will sense it
Yeah.
and then it interacts with you that same way. Right? So I
And
say this.
emotions.
Correct. So I say this, for example, in the context of when you're interacting with somebody who doesn't like you, just picture yourself like them. You have also been in their shoes. They are afraid of something.
True.
It's not personal. They are
Exactly.
afraid of
That's what I
something.
was saying. Once you see
Correct.
their story, you see that it's not personal. It's
Correct.
and you feel compassion in many cases.
Correct. And then when we experience negative emotion, whether it's anger, and by negative, I don't mean bad, it's just a different expression, right? When we experience it with people, there are ways to walk through it to get into a better state of more alignment, you know,
Yes.
and more goodwill towards people. But this, of course, this takes time, this takes, you know, effort, but the fundamental of it is goodwill towards the individual. And that's why music and creativity is one of the best forms of goodwill, because somebody is expressing themselves and we can join in that creativity. We can join in it and be a part of their experience. That is life. We're actually sharing in their life in it, right? And that's why we are fans. We are fans of their life, right? We
Yes,
are
yes, I
sharing
like this.
in their life. It's the same we can with negative emotion. We can also interact with it in a way where we first acknowledge that the person has a right to feel that way. Hey, you're angry. It's okay. I have been angry too. This is not a unique experience. We all experience anger. You want to chop my head off? Yes, I've been there too. I wanted to do this. And we can de escalate. But we first have to share with the person to show, hey, we're on the same page here. We're not against each other here. I
Exactly.
understand where you're coming from. How can we get to a place where we can be on the same page and we can actually have mutual goodwill towards each other? And that's going to take work. It's going to take a long, long time for all of civilization to get to a place where we have goodwill towards each other, but I'm happy that the progressive life is we're all on
Will
that journey.
eventually get us there.
We're gonna get
Eventually.
there. We're
Yes,
gonna get
exactly.
there,
And that's so
definitely.
beautiful. That's so beautiful that to see that even though we may feel that this is slow and that we're not getting nowhere, universe and God has its time and eventually everything happens. So
Correct.
well, thanks a lot, Tony. This is the end of our show. It's been really, really interesting. I really like your view on pro-life, the concept of how we have, the life beyond us and how we merge with living with everybody. So, any closing remarks before we go?
Yes. Let me think. Let me just say this. First of all, you're not alone, and I say this to all our listeners. You're not alone. Second, you don't need to go and find God somewhere else. Life is already within you. You experience it on a daily basis. Just listen. Just receive the divine goodwill within you and work with it. And then you'll be able to work with others in a collaborative way. And if you need any practical tips or any mantras to use, of course, you can use the I'm in you, you're in me to help yourself center. If you do that several times a day, there was a time I set an alarm on my watch to do it every hour. This is like 15 years ago because I was really struggling, like I'm
Yeah,
in you,
yeah.
you're in me,
You had
So if
you
you
had to
need
put in a lot of effort to get to the next step.
Correct. I had to do that. I had to really change and renew my mind, right? So if you need to do that, to sit in a place to do that regularly, it will help. If you have any other mantra you use, sure, use that as well. But just know you are not trying to earn anything. You are experiencing life, and we are all experiencing it together. And really I'm really happy to be part of this time of life.
Likewise, Tony. Well, thanks a lot, brother. I think we're going to have to continue this conversation at another time. I mean, we're going to have to set up another show because we have a lot of things that we can talk about. But thank
Correct.
you for your participation. Thank you for all this loving wisdom that you brought us. And I also want to thank our viewers for watching us. If you liked the program, and only if you liked it, please subscribe. You can also put in the notifications and also tell people that there's these bunch of guys at this podcast that talk about nice things that make you
Yes.
warm and fuzzy. Maybe that's your contribution into putting them to learning more about God. So remember that we're all part of God's family. We're living in life, and that we're all brothers. I'm
Yes.
Santiago Kneeland. This is The Divine Within. Take care and carpe diem. On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.